Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on Monday, February 5th. We're going to take a look at Spotify today. So with earnings coming up, I thought we would come and take a look at the chart, see where it might hit some support or resistance based on any big moves out of the earnings call. That said, I will couch this all in the idea that it may also just go sideways. So just keep in mind, stock can go sideways after earnings. But Spotify, if it has a big reaction one way or another, I thought we'd come take a look. Now, everything purple line and below I put in today, but everything above the purple line here, so all of these levels were already on the chart, and it's been respecting those quite well. We haven't checked it on Spotify in a while, so these have been on the chart for a while, and it's been moving nicely through them. So the one thing that I would point out, to just get it out of the way, is to the downside here. It does have a little bit of a gap left. You see on this day when it went up almost 7.5%, it left this gap, and it came down and it filled it partially. So the low on this day was 185.37, and the gap though doesn't fill until about 183.34. So it has a couple of dollars or so that it would need to come down to fully fill that gap. So, will that play any part in this earnings reaction? I don't know, but if it does start to move toward 200 or dip below 200, I would keep an eye and see if it starts to make any strong motion toward filling that gap, which would complete at about 183.34. Now, if it does do that, and then, who knows, maybe it gets some momentum in that direction and it just kind of keeps pulling, 178.63 is the next support level that looks strong to me. So we'll see if that happens. Now, of course, if it does dip, it still has a level right here at 218.66 that we had on the chart for a while. You see it's been trying to put in some nice motion through that in recent days, so, and has respected it quite strongly. So I feel good about that. There's also a bit of a gap down here. I might as well put this in while we're here, that it would fill right at about 207.49. Yep, that was the high on that day. So that doesn't look like a super strong support level, at least like compared to the others. So I'm going to put it gray to just say, hey, if it comes down here, it would fill that gap, but I don't know that it would catch a bunch of support. It may, but as it's currently established, I don't see it as a super strong support level. There may also be another little gap here, so it might just be gappy a little bit. So just know there could be a few sort of gaps hanging out there. I'll point out these ones, and we'll sort of leave it at that so we don't make the chart too terribly messy. 218.66 if it comes down just a little bit, or if it needs to retest. And then if it does start to head north, 228.25 is the level we have up there. And then this one up here is 237.91. Is that what that is? Yep, 237.91. So, here's the like 5 or so levels that I'm going to be watching. It could certainly move beyond these levels. That wouldn't be shocking. And so if it does and folks are interested, let me know in the comments and we can always come back and take another look and see where it may go based on any motion above that 237 level or below that 178 level. Now in the think or swim side of things, you can see the climb here quite strong, right? Especially if you, you look back here, in the hundreds and out of the channel, tested the channel, rode it right up, and then a big drop. And even with the big drop, it stayed out of the channel for a few days, and then it just sprinted right out of the upper bound of the channel, back down, retest, and then just another swing and retest up to this 224.45. So really strong motion after really strong motion, even with some pretty significant hiccups in there. So showing really positive relative strength. We'll see if that can continue. And the thing that I do worry about sometimes in stocks like this is, granted there may be very good reason for the climb, and that may keep it positive into earnings. But sometimes I worry that the run-up has been so expansive in such a period of time that even on a really good call or even on par call, that folks think, we've already run the stock price up X amount, and even though this is a decent earnings call or an on par earnings call, we're still going to push it back a little bit because we just sort of overreacted and run it up too much. Now, like I said, the flip side of that coin is if it's been running up for really good reasons and the earnings call sort of hammers home those reasons that it was running up, then it could just very much carry on and keep on trucking. So we'll see which way it wants to go, but we do also see that it tends to spend a decent amount of time outside of the channel, and it comes down to test the mid-range, which is always what we look for. Outside of the channel, test the mid-range, and sometimes it does it relatively quickly. So right now it's outside of the channel, so will it have the oomph, the bullish push to still keep climbing up higher out of the channel? Could certainly happen, and if that happens, I'm going to be wondering, when is it going to re-engage with the channel, and when is it going to retest the mid-range, and where will the mid-range be at that point, right? Because this is a dynamic channel and it shifts as additional candles are put in. Right now you see a really nice bullish move on the histogram, nothing triggering and firing since back here, right? So this to me looks like it was consumed by this entire move so far. So I don't know how much more gas there is from a TTM squeeze perspective, but that doesn't necessarily mean that a large move can't come one direction or the other. I'm also not super shocked that it's not triggering at the moment, as the stock is outside of the upper bound of the channel. Typically look for it to trigger when it's pinned to the mid-range of the channel, or to me, I feel like that's the ideal setup, like you saw back here. So yeah, that's my biggest question at the moment. Does it really have the gusto to keep its foot on the gas, if you will, as it's up out of the upper bound of the channel? We'll see. Could certainly happen. Earnings is a big deal, so in terms of power of catalyst, I feel like it could certainly be there. All right, folks, I hope that your trading week is off to a good start, and as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.